Excellent connection. Hello. I think there is a bit of a delay. Okay, this is the first time I've gone live in a while, so I'm not even sure if I'm doing it right. We'll see. Okay, I'm gonna turn. How do I turn off this fun background? I am going to choose something else. We'll do this. And you know, I realized that I totally could have like had everything prepared and ready to go. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna cut myself some slack and not be super, you know, prepared and just kind of roll with it. So, oh, I could light it. All right. And okay, so I am on Instagram. Hello, everyone who got my email. You'll either see this live or you'll get the replay. I'll chop up the video, make it all super cute for y'all to check out. So if you're on YouTube, you see my desk here from the webcam. And if you're on IG, you see me. So somehow I'll combine those together. This is so fun. Okay. So, yes, yesterday was May 4th, and it was actually the feast day to celebrate the Catholic Saint Florian, who is the patron saint of soap makers. One sec, I'm going to turn the light on up in here. You know, as they say, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. And I had a plan to make soap yesterday. And so as I was, you know, getting ready to send an email out to everybody that, let me actually get this, YouTube. Here we go. So I was going to make soap yesterday. I was like all gung-ho to be live. And then it turned out that my email service provider, which was, you know, a really small, tiny company, just stopped sending out the messages. So the last couple emails I sent did not go through. I was pretty bummed about it, but it did inspire me to just move everything over to a less janky email provider. So now I'm on ConvertKit with all the other cool kids, and so far so good. I like it. But it did take me a lot of yesterday to migrate everything over. And so I didn't get to make soap, but here I am today, and I'm gonna do that. So to start, I've got on my trusty long sleeve shirt. I got my long pants. These are my Serena Williams pants, which I love because on the bottom here it says greatest of all time. And you know, it sometimes you've got to adorn yourself with clothing that makes you feel regal, that makes you feel beautiful, and that inspires you to embrace the greatest of all time energy that you've got to bring. You know, you got to bring that energy. Hello? Okay. So I've got a whiteboard here, and I feel pretty tempted to use it. So I'm going to get my dry erase markers out. And my kiddo absolutely loves to take these markers and throw them all around the house. So I am routinely running around trying to gather these, but I love it. Okay, let's see. Can we see pretty well? Let me get a little closer since I feel inspired to whiteboard. And so, yeah, thanks for joining me. What I'm going to do today is teach you how to make soap from scratch. So if you've been on my email list or following me on Instagram, LinkedIn, you know that I'm Priscilla, the traveling soap maker, and I'm here to teach the world how to make soap. It's my goal and my mission to teach 1 million people how to make soap from scratch. Why? Because soap making at its core is about transformation, and I believe that making soap is the entry point into transforming the raw materials that you have in your life and creating something that's new, useful, and serves you. And why not make it a little bit luxurious? So to start, I'm going to get my Expo marker out, and let's see. I think you can see. I'll move in and out of the way. So we're going to make soap from scratch. I'll put some little bubbles here because, you know, it's soap. This is some fun stuff that we get to make. So we're going to do soap from scratch. And to make soap from scratch, it boils down to combining 3 main ingredients and putting them together. And I also just realized that on Instagram, this is reversed. I don't know how to unreverse it, but, you know, just go with me. Let me see if that does it. All right, let me see. Oh, no, that is the wrong button. All right, so we need 3 things to make soap. The first being oil. Okay, and then we also need water. And then the third thing we're going to need is lye, which is also referred and called sodium hydroxide, or it's called caustic soda. So these are 3 things that we're going to be combining today. And with oil, I'll put oil plus butters because we're going to get some nice luxurious butters into our soap today. So we're going to do butters. I don't mean like butter that you eat, though I think you can put that in soap, but more like shea butter kind of butters. And we'll do this. We have oils and butters, we have water, and we have lye for our soap from scratch recipe. All right, cool. And so what I'm going to do is I figured, you know, why not show the entire process, like from, hey, I am going to make a recipe to actually going ahead and making the whole soap. So bear with me. I haven't done this like depth of a class on a live before. So you're going to see me, you know, take my time and pull out the different pieces to our project today. So I know for sure I'm going to want to use coconut oil. So I've got some coconut oil here at the ready. And, ooh, we got some mango butter. You can't go wrong with pure African shea butter. And this right here is the kind that's 100% natural. It's got like a, you know, yellowish tint to it. It's also sold in deodorized versions. So like this is an example of one that's deodorized and it's shea butter that's white, but we're gonna use the yellow today. And I have castor oil. And ooh, so many goodies. I also have avocado oil that's begging me to use. And I'm going to put this for another soap making day. That was actually a oil blend from Brambleberry that, you know, it's fun to use from time to time. I got a bag of it just to try, and I liked it, but I still like measuring out my own oil, so that's what we're going to do today. And this is cocoa butter. So far, to recap on the table here, I'm going to adjust my camera. All right. So We've got cocoa butter, castor oil, shea butter, coconut oil. I've got avocado oil, mango butter, and this is sodium lactate, and I'll give you some information on the usefulness of that in a bit. And what else are we gonna include in our luscious bond today? Wait, that is also an oil. Okay, cool. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna grab a printed copy of the ebook that I made that's all about soap making. And I'm so glad that I took the time to make this ebook because I refer to it all the time. So this is the first ebook that I ever made for soap making. And so it's like this picture guide that tells you all about all of the different steps. Here we go. So I got YouTube here, Instagram there. So this is a guide that shows all of the steps to the soap making process. And I made it primarily to like not only help me, but to also I give this to my students. So that way when they leave, they're able to go and follow along with all the steps and have a visual. And so what I like to do when I'm getting started, even as someone who's been making soap for 10 years, like I still like to go through all of the materials and ingredients and make sure that I have everything out before I like really get into the making of it. And the whole point of doing that is for safety. When you have everything that is all laid out and all organized, then you're inviting less mistakes to come into the process. So that's what that's about. Okay, so to begin, I'm gonna get some of my safety materials ready. And I also want to decide, I'm not sure how much soap I want to make today, so that's another thing. But to start, I'm going to grab safety goggles, and these are goggles with side shields, so these actually fit over my eyeglasses. Can never be too safe. Spoken like a former safety manager, which I am. All right. Then we're going to have protective gloves, closed-toed shoes, of course. I'm going to go put some shoes on in a bit. I showed you my long sleeve shirt and my long sleeve pants. And another safety material that you, if you are a beginner soap maker, might not be expecting is vinegar. So vinegar, that's a pro tip to have a bottle of vinegar around. And when I get into making the lye solution, we'll talk a little bit more about why that is important. Okay, so we hit lye safety 101. Okay, now the next is I'm going to pull out the basic soap making ingredients, and that is like the next part of my ebook. And so I'm going to pull out the distilled water. We already have the oils and fats that we're going to use. Let me grab the food grade lye. So here is the sodium hydroxide that I'm going to use. And essential oils and fragrances. Clays and additives that are optional, and colorants that are also optional. So I mentioned in my email that I'm making soap in honor of the Catholic Saint Florian, who his story is that he saved an entire town from burning down with a single bucket of water by sending a prayer to God. And I thought, what a, magnificent like thing to do in one's life and to be known for. He died as a martyr, had a pretty gruesome death, as martyrs do, but he's remembered as the patron saint of brewers, of soap boilers or soap makers, as well as firefighters. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so I wanted to make a bar of soap that kind of represented some of his story. And I think it's going to do something with maybe the colors that I use in the bar of soap. I might want to go for some kind of water and fire type of vibe going on. Okay, so I'm going to keep on pulling stuff out. I have distilled water that I keep here in my hand furnace. All right, so we have all of these, and then I'm gonna pull out my trove fragrances. I'm gonna put this to the side. Okay, and I can't even pretend like I don't know what scent I want to make. So I'm kind of obsessed with this one. It's from Candle Science. It's called Black Currant Absinthe. And there used to be this local candle maker, and she would make these candles that smelled just like this. Well, here's the candle. Like, I bought so many of these from her. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. But she recently stopped making the candles. And so I've been emailing and haven't had a chance to get a hold of her, so she might be up to other things these days. But I did find a scent that reminded me of the candle, and so I'm gonna make the soap smell really luscious and luxurious, like it. And this is called Black Currant Absinthe, and it smells divine. And I do have some lavender essential oil, so I just might add lavender essential oil too. Like I said, I'm freestyling and, organically creating this bar, and you're going to join me along in that process. So consider yourself on a front row seat to making soap completely from scratch. And whenever I do my classes, I usually have these little fragrance tester strips, so my students can take little droppers and put them on this and kind of smell a couple of different fragrances, or a lot of different fragrances, to find that perfect scent that brings out something wonderful within you. Ooh, clover. I'm going to smell this one. Ooh, cloves. Oh my gosh. I do like me some spicy scents. I like cloves. I like the black currant and absinthe. Alright, so I'm gonna do this. And you see me, I'm constantly cleaning up as I go because it's just an easier way to function. Okay, what else? Okay, so we have some phenolphthalein that'll come up later in our process. It has been a while since I've made soap, and it's been a while because I've been busy having babies. I have had 2 babies, and in between the 2 of them, I had like this frenzy where I just made a ton of soap. So I made soap using all kinds of fresh fruits, And I even made a breast milk soap, which turned out super lovely. And then I got pregnant very shortly after that and was sick the entire time. So I didn't have any opportunity to even have the energy to stand up and make soap, let alone anything else in my life. So I'm really extra grateful that I can do that right now. And, part of the energy and the motivation has to do with being inspired by my religion, being inspired by being Catholic, and being inspired by saints. Something about forget me not. I have some forget me nots here, and I have a feeling that these are going to make an appearance on our bar. So very beautiful. Let's see, I've got rose petals, I've got jasmine. I find it really nice. I do like hibiscus. I love the smell of hibiscus. So I'll put these away for now. And ooh, I love neem oil. This is going to be a real bougie bar of soap. Bougie is what I like. Let's see, I've got moringa, I've got argan oil, and I almost said I don't want to go crazy, and then I thought, you know what, I absolutely do want to go crazy. Because this is a celebration. Hey, alright, so to recap, I've got coconut oil, avocado oil, I've got shea butter, castor oil, cocoa butter, distilled water, mango butter, neem oil. I've got sodium hydroxide. I've got my fragrance here, black currant absinthe, and I've got lavender essential oil to add as well. I've got my safety materials, and I have some beautiful forget-me-nots that I will adorn on the top of this beautiful, luxurious bar of soap. Hi, Mom! Hey! So, Juliana Mensa has joined the chat. Juliana Men9. Hello, hello. Great to see you. Shout out to my mom. Alright, so I'm going to move and perfect. Alright, so you can kind of see a little better. And I'm going to angle down this YouTube right here. In fact, yay! We are making soap. We make soap. So something that is really good to do, especially if you're going to make a batch of soap that you've never done before, like I'm going to create a recipe, I'm going to make a small 1 pound batch of soap. And so the reason why is when I'm making a batch that I've never done before, I want to test it out, I want to try it out, and I don't want to be overly committed to having like a giant, batch of soap. So I'm going to do a 1 pound batch, and I'm going to actually do this in my crock pot. So I'll show you how I'll put this recipe together. And recipe formulation can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. It really depends on what you're after. So there are all kinds of tools out there to help you make the perfect batch of soap. You can do it completely old school and actually go ahead and let me pull some books out, which I think I want to share like some of the books to use to help with formulation. Like, let's say you don't have access to the internet, you don't have all the materials. There's something like the Complete Idiot's Guide to Soap Making. There's my favorite one, the Everything Soap Making book. And there's also like some of the OG books, Soap Maker's Companion and Natural Soap Book. And so if you go into these books, you'll see all about how to make soap from front to back. And it'll also tell you about the oils and butters that I have here, the recommended percentages for those, and then it even goes into detail on what the saponification value is, which is a very, simple concept when you think about it. There's a certain amount of sodium hydroxide that is necessary to turn an ounce of an oil or particular butter into soap. And so when you're formulating, it's super important to remember that you want to respect that minimum amount. And then you also have that freedom and leeway to add extra butters and extra oils to make your bar super luxurious. So the old school way is to, kind of go through these books, look at the different SAP values, and just actually calculate how much lye do I need for the amount of butters and oils that I want to use, and then move forward. But because we do have access to the internet, and we do have access to kind of automating some of these things, you can also use, so there's two. One is a little more complicated and has a learning curve. It's called SoapCalc. And so on SoapCalc, let me adjust my YouTube camera. Here we go. So on SoapCalc, it's very technical, and it breaks down all of the different, I think I want to say amino acids that are within the different types of soap. And then you can predict to an extent how your final bar of soap is going to behave based on each of those characteristics in soap. So pretty good. Let me see. I'm going to wave. Hi. Hello, Sweet Splendor. Nice to meet you. Hello, Julie Mensa. And let me see. All right. So, and you may or may not be hearing a baby in the background. I promise, my husband is looking after the babies. Babies cry. So, baby is definitely being tended to right now. Okay. Yeah. So, I saw a request to join me on the live video. If you'd like, you are absolutely welcome to join and ask a question as I'm going through. Or if you are a soap maker and you want to share some of your tips and tricks, I absolutely welcome that. We're all here to learn. And my big thing is making sure that this knowledge of soap making goes into future generations. So I'm here to share the knowledge and connect. Yeah. Okay. So I mentioned that I was going to show you like a super simple way to put together a recipe. And I'm going to do it with Brambleberry's soap calculator. So I'm going to open that page up on my browser and then show you how we're going to put together our recipe for today. Brambleberry, hey. And Brambleberry, they have been around for quite a while. Got the Soap Queen, very helpful as far as, I think most people who are beginners in soap found Soap Queen on YouTube and were like, oh, great, let me follow along and, see if I can make soap without burning my house down. And I always joke that about burning down your house. And if you mishandle lye sodium hydroxide, it is very possible that you're going to have a bad time. It's very possible that you can, burn yourself and objects around you. So it's not completely far-fetched. But if you are safely using lye, you don't have to worry about any accidents. I've never had an accident using lye because I've always followed safety protocols. And yes, I am a former safety manager, but even if you don't have a safety background and you respect the process and you're using your gloves, you're using your eye protection, and you have vinegar on hand to help douse spills, you're going to be cool. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this little camera around. So you can see I am on YouTube. I'm going to make this full screen. And this is the Brambleberry Lye Calculator. Pretty neat. And I want to say, I think I can actually share my screen for people who are watching along on YouTube, or for everyone who's going to catch the replay when I get a chance to chop this video up a little bit. I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. All right, share. And then I think I do this, and then I do add. Hey, oh, that is pretty cool. All right, so yeah, on the YouTube, I have like a little dual screen thing going on. Love it. I'm actually going to turn me off. And then, yeah, we're just going to look at the Brambleberry page. And I'm going to turn... Oh, wait, I think I can just turn the camera. You can tell I don't go live very often because I am actively figuring out how to do this. But it is all good, man. Like, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's always saying, document, don't create. Document, don't create. So this is me documenting as opposed to like being super polished and creating. But if you want to see like a super polished, well, mostly polished soap making video, go to my YouTube where you can see me make 100% olive oil soap. And that is like just a straight, front to back video. All right, so here we go. This is using the Brambleberry Lye Calculator. And I've used this so many times, they've just like updated the interface of the site. So let's see where we're gonna go to actually, here we go. So it's brambleberry.com/calculator. Pretty simple. There's a lye calculator, and then there is the fragrance calculator. And so, like I said, there are so many ways to make soap. I say that all the time. There are so many ways to make soap recipes and to make different formulations. I'm going to show you a very simple way for today. And we're going to make a solid soap. You can see that the options are solid or liquid. I'm picking solid. And we're going to do this based on percentage as opposed to ounces and grams. So I'm going to show you a percentage. This way the recipe is scalable and it's a little bit easier to make future calculations when you just know, hey, what percent is what. And then we're going to put in the weight of oils. So this is something that is important when you want to determine like what is going to be the final amount of soap that you're going to have. So I'm going to actually grab my notebook because I don't remember how much oil I want to have in my final. But because I've made a pound of soap before, I want to say I'm going to have a total of 16 ounces. But let me get my notebook. And over the years, I have made, like, when I first started making soap, I think fully had the presence of mind to, hey, let me write down what I'm doing. It might come in handy one day. Not knowing that 10 years later I would still be making soap and absolutely, happy that I have like notebooks where I've documented what I've done. So if you are a total beginner in the soap making process, I absolutely recommend that you get some kind of a notebook. So these are just two of my notebooks of many. And so moments like today, I can go and flip through my old notes and remind myself of some calculations that I have already done in the past. Ooh, and then in a future lesson, so I just found like this page where I took notes about, the different types of acids that are in soap. So some of the oils will have things like lauric acid, myristic acid, palmitic acid, stearic acid, ricinoleic acid, oleic acid, linoleic acid, and each of these will point to different cleansing, lather, and other properties of soap. So this is like, I would say, an advanced concept, and I can go over that in a future video, which will be pretty fun. But for now, I'm going to flip back to the amount of oils that I want to put into my pot today. And if you have any questions while I'm flipping through, feel free to add them into the chat. And if you're watching the replay, you can still add comments to ask your questions or shoot me an email at hello@superpowersoap.com, and I'll do my best to answer you. I love this stuff. Soap making is certainly my passion. La da da da. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, I think this ounces of oil for a 16-ounce pot. Okay, so I just found the calculation I made for the amount of oil that I'm going to put into one of my rectangular molds. So I know that I'm going to make half of that amount. So rather than 26.4 ounces of oil, we're going to do 13 ounces of oils to be safe. And I'll round it up to 16 ounces of oils, just to make it nice and even. So we're going to do 16 ounces of oil. So I'm going to flip the camera. Cool. Yay, this is so fun. I like this. Okay, so thanks for joining me on my live. Y'all are so nice. Okay, so this is right here, 16 ounces of oil. And then we're going to talk about the super fat. So the super fat is the extra oil that we're adding. And this is going to be oil that in butters that do not turn into soap. And so I'm going to do a 7% super fat. So like I said, this is going to be a luxurious bar. So I'm going to have a higher super fat. You might be wondering, when would I use none? If I were making something like laundry soap where I don't want extra oils to be in that soap because I want all of my clothing to be clean and not oily when it's done, then this would be the super fat I would use. But tends to be that the higher the super fat, the creamier the bar. Occasionally it could mean fewer bubbles, but it really does depend on the combination. So I'm going to do 7% here and click next. And so now on this Brambleberry Lye calculator, it's asking us to choose the types of oils and butters that we're going to use, and the total needs to be 100%. Dope. And so I mentioned all of these wonderful soap making books. So we have Soap Maker's Companion, the Natural Soap Making Book, Everything Soap Making Book. That gives us some, just real clarity on the best percentages to use. So I'm going to briefly kind of show you just like what I mean by that practically. And I'm going to move down to the book. And let me actually flip. So for instance, we are going to use castor oil. And so if we look in the book, there's information about its benefits, about the acids that it is, high in percentage of, and what that is going to do as far as its impact in the bar of soap. So that's why it's really good to have several books so you can kind of read, mix and match, and get an idea of what a particular ingredient is going to do for you. And so I know castor oil is great for adding nice bubbles to the bar. It also contributes to the bar stickiness. So I'm going to do, let me see, and also the question is, like, how much castor oil do I have? And I've got I've got enough for soap, that's for sure. So we're going to do a 5% castor oil. I've got plenty of coconut oil, and I do want a nice hard bubbly bar. So I'm going to go with 50% coconut oil. Coconut oil can be used up to 100% in soap. Oftentimes people will use it as a third of the bar. If you're making a bar for, just normal skin, you're most likely going to do coconut, palm, and olive oil as 33, 33, 34 as far as the percentage are concerned. I'm going to do a 50% coconut oil bar. Shea butter, I'm going to do 10%. I'm also going to do 10% of cocoa butter. And I have neem oil. I really like neem oil. It is so good for skin. It's so good for plants. It has a very strong scent, but it's really, really good for skin. And so I'm going to do that at 5%. And I'm also going to include some mango butter in here at 5%. And so we're now at 85%, and I'm going to continue on. I probably am going to do the last 15% avocado oil rather. And so this recipe, I'm doing avocado oil, mango butter, neem oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, coconut oil, and shea butter. And so I mentioned this is one way of making soap and putting together a soap recipe. You can absolutely go into a lot more detail and use soap calc and go over all of the different acids that are in the soap, and then calculate and kind of predict what you think your bar is going to be like. But I will say that really with soap making, as with most things in life, you kind of just have to go ahead and do it and make that bar of soap. Oh, am I sharing the right screen? Oh no, sorry guys on YouTube, I was sharing the wrong tab this whole time. I'm on this page here. So I'm on Brambleberry's Lye calculator. And so just to kind of recap, we're making a solid bar of soap. We're calculating the amount of ingredients by percentage, based loosely on recommended percentages in the Soap Maker's Companion. as well as the natural soap book and everything soap making and a couple of other things. So this is a super simple way of, oh, hello, World of Aromas. Thank you for joining. Yes, I'll tell a little bit about the aromas that we're using today. We're going to use black currant and absinthe scent from Candle Science, and I'm going to blend some of that with lavender essential oil. So I'm going to do a little wave. Yay! All right, cool. So we are at 100%. 5% mango butter, 5% neem oil, 15% avocado oil, 5% castor, 10% cocoa butter, 50% coconut oil, 10% shea butter. Woo! All right, and then I'm going to hit next. And then when I hit next, we see the results. And so the results, basically, this calculator has done the work for us of calculating the amount of lye that we need. If we wanted to do this by hand, we could go into our soap making book and look at the SAP values. So I'm going to actually just kind of show you a page. So this is the Soap Maker's Companion right here. And if I go to page 238, you can see that all the different fatty acids, I think I said amino acids earlier, I meant fatty acids, that are present or not present within particular oils. So this would be a more manual way of deciding what oils to use. And we'll go over this in another video. It's super technical. So yes, I love lavender essential oil. Juliana, I know you love lavender soap, so don't be surprised if you get some of these bars. So yes. So here is our recipe that we're going to do today. So we're going to do, because we did it by percentage, this did the work of calculating the ounces: 0.8 ounces of mango butter, 0.8 ounces of neem oil, 2.4 ounces of avocado oil, 0.8 ounces of castor oil, and then we have 1.6 ounces of cocoa butter. We're going to do 8 ounces of coconut oil and 1.6 ounces of shea butter. So this is what we're going to need from the ingredients that you see here. So pretty cool. So this is one simple way of putting a recipe together. Definitely not the only way. So I'm going to go ahead and just print this out because I am old school and I need to have something in my hand to look at. Otherwise, I'm going to just be like referring back and forth to the screen. So let me print this out. Perfect. And so now I have my printed recipe, and we're going to put this to the side. And so I have, basically, like I said, oils, water, and lye. We have the recipe. I'm going to put this up here. Whoops. I'm going to tape this up here. Let me put this back up on top. And I'm going to also turn my YouTube camera back to let's see, how do I get back to the video? See, once I start streaming more, I'm gonna be a pro. All right, so I think I'm gonna do add. Yay! All right, YouTube, I think I am back. Okay, so we are going to flip that around. Yay! A little bit of behind the scenes. Hello, Toya Simply Beautiful 626. I'm going to wave at you. Thank you for joining. Always beautiful. All right, cool. All right, so I showed you the ingredients that we're using. I showed you how I came up with my very simple recipe. And although the recipe is simple, the bar is going to be luxurious, and I cannot wait to use it. So we're going to do hot process soap today. There's two there's two main ways of making soap. There's so many ways to make soap. There's definitely more than two, but the two methods are cold process and hot process that you've most likely heard of. And I'm going to focus on hot process soap making today. Why? Because I love it the most. It's actually the first way that I ever learned how to make soap, and so it's just stuck with me. When I think about soap making, I always think about doing it the hot process method. And yeah, I think not only was it the first way that I was ever taught to make soap when I first took a class back in 2014, but it's also been the way that just seems like it's the safest way to make soap. I say that because you're heating the material all the way through until it turns into soap, and therefore it just feels like I don't have to worry about anybody getting into the soap, this or that. I got kids around. It's not like a caustic solution. Not to say there's anything wrong with with cold process. Cold process is great, but just saying that different strokes for different folks. Nothing wrong with it at all. Just not my preference. So cool. This is my closet, and so when I go and I do live soap making, so I have my handcrafted Soap Makers Guild bag here, and I take this with me when I go around and I do my live demonstrations. So I'm actually looking for my extension cord because I just realized that I'm going to need one, and I wasn't thinking about that beforehand. So while I'm here, I'm going to get out my scale. So I'm going to need to measure all of the ingredients. La da da da. And so yeah, if you have any questions about the process of making soap, then feel free to ask them. I'm going to do my best to answer your curiosities. This is the stick blender, so I'm going to get that ready. And I'm not quite sure where my trusty extension cord is, so I'm going to need to look for that. Alright, so unless I can get this to reach the plug. It might reach. I think there is a plug right there. So, no lye involved. Oh, well, actually, so we are going to use sodium hydroxide in this. Yep. Yeah, we are going to use lye to make this soap. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh, you can't make soap without lye. And that's only partially true. You actually can make soap without lye. You can make soap using soap nuts. You can make soap using potash, which is cocoa, like the burnt cocoa pods and plantain ashes. So I've seen people make soap without lye using those two methods. So yeah, I think people who say that maybe haven't traveled enough to other parts of the world to see how other folks make lye. And that's also why I am sometimes called Priscilla, the traveling soap maker, because I'm willing to go to different places and ask people about how they make soap and learn new things. And as soap makers, it's so important for us to be the kind of people that are willing to, question a lot of what we believe. There was a time where I remember in formulating recipes, all I would hear about coconut oil is, oh, coconut oil is drying, coconut oil is drying, blah, blah, blah. And then, you actually see other people on the internet saying, well, if you use coconut oil and then use super fat, the coconut oil at like 30%, it's not drying. It can be a very creamy bar. So it just kind of goes to show that because all of us are different and we all have different skin types, it's just really easy to assume that somebody else is going to have the same experience as us, when actually that may or may not be the case. So, soap making is here to teach us a lot. Okay. Well, I'm going to figure out this this extension cord situation that I did not think about. So I'll be back. I'll be back. And thanks for hanging with me, y'all. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing on there. And you just see me right now. I am finagling with the YouTube situation going on. All right. Thanks for your patience, World of Aromas. I appreciate you. Where? I know I used the last time I went to do a live event. Oh, and speaking of live events, if you are in, oh, thank you, World of Aromas. You're awesome. I appreciate you for hanging out on a Sunday. Thank you. My lovely husband, my soap making assistant, brought me a giant extension cord. Thank you, babe. All right, so I'm going to plug this in. But I was mentioning that I'm actually doing a live soap making event in Houston on June 1st. And I'll be at my co-working space and I'll be teaching the soap making process to the community. So if you're in the Houston area, you can check me out on meetup.com and look for the Houston Soap Makers Meetup group. And you can RSVP there. Or if you're not on my email list, go to superpowersoap.com and there will be a little pop-up where you can join my email list and then you'll get information on that. So what's up? What's up? All right, I'm going to plug in. And cool. Yeah, so we're gonna do this hot process. Soap making. Hey, hey, hey. My favorite way to make soap. Soap is hope. Alright, so I'm going to now, let's see. Oh, it says I have 3 seconds remaining. I'm gonna go back live again. Okay, cool. So I didn't realize, but on Instagram, there is a link for the lives. So I think it it cuts out after an hour or an hour 15, which is totally fine. Real live. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, I am back. I am back. So it looks like Instagram kind of cuts out a little bit after. Looks like Instagram will cut out after an hour or so. So luckily, let me see if I can turn this on. So that is totally fine. Now I know. You see, before I didn't know. And as one of my favorite, phrases go, if you didn't know, well, now you know. Okay, so this is my other thing. So I think I'm gonna have to plug this one in over here. And also, next time, it's gonna be great because I'm actually going to be more prepared with this whole scenario. So I'm gonna open up my scale, and yeah, I'm going step by step. So if you've never made soap before, you're probably going to be like me. You're going to be taking your time, ideally. You're going to be, very carefully going through methodically, making sure that you are hitting all the points. Man, oh man. Does Mama love her some soap making? Alright, so we're gonna do that and get all my oils over here and get my water and lye over there. And I'm going to kind of let you see what I'm working with IG, and I think for YouTube I can, yeah, this is a better angle. So I think I'm going to move my pot over here. And then we're gonna plug it in. Hey, hey. Cool. Okay, so this is heating up now. And so it looks like on YouTube you can see pretty nicely into the pot. So we're going to put this here. And I've also got my scale. So, like I said, even though I've been making soap for 10 years, I still open up my ebook and I still follow along with the directions in here because I like me a system. I like me a process. I like step by step. All right, so I've got my safety goggles, got my protective gloves, closed-toed shoes, long-sleeve shirt, long-sleeve pants, got my vinegar, I've got my oils, my butters, I got my distilled water, my food-grade sodium hydroxide, my fragrance and essential oils. These are going to come in toward the end, so I'll put these off to the side too. Clays and additives. I am going to, like I said, I want this to be a nice and very luxurious bar of soap. I'm going to put bentonite clay up in this. I love bentonite clay. And we might even do something with some colors. Now, I was saying I wanted to go, let's see. silk. It's very luxurious. This is going to be such a bougie bar. And you know, to me, that is the best part. So this is some bentonite clay that I have portioned out. And so when I do my one-on-one VIP classes, like I bring it all out. And the way I structured my VIP day, so for $2,500, you're going to get one-on-one attention. You're going to get all of these materials and more in a soap making kit. So in the kit, I actually am going to give you a mini crock pot just like this. You're going to get a stick blender. You're going to get bottles of oil. You're going to get bottles of fragrances. You're going to get sodium hydroxide. You're going to leave with everything you need of not only the knowledge and the techniques, you'll get the materials too, and you'll get a copy of my ebook. So that way you can go off and create soap and launch a brand if that is what your heart desires. So it's a lot of fun, and I hope to see you in that class. If you want more information about that, join my email list. Okay, and so I have some colorants here. These are from Brambleberry, and these are colorants that we're going to mix with some of our liquid oils and then add to the soap in a later stage. I'm not sure if I want to do color. I was thinking, you know, because I'm making something inspired by St. Florian, part of me wants to do like some kind of a red and blue kind of fire and water vibe, but we'll see. We'll see about that. I'm not too sure if I feel so committed to doing that. All right, so I've got all of the pieces here. Now I'm going to go over the materials. And if you are just looking to get information on, you know, how to even get started, I do have a checklist that is available for download. So if you're on my Instagram, you can go to, let me see if I have a paper copy of it. I want to say I have a paper copy. You can go to my bio, and then you can check out the quick start checklist, and that's what you can use to download. So here's what it looks like. This is the soap making quick start checklist. And so this is a free download on my site. You just pop in your email and it's good to go. And basically everything that I have laid out here on my workstation and this my workshop here, you can just kind of go through and make sure that you have it all together. The back is the same thing, but just in a different format, kind of like the 3 pillars of soap making, with the safety in equipment, the ingredients, and the materials. So you can definitely, you know, just go to the link in my bio and download the soap making materials checklist. A little free gift for you, just to kind of help you with all that you need to get started. Some of these are even hyperlinked, so that way you can just click on the link and it'll take you to Amazon or wherever, and you can find like the exact material that you need to get started. And I broke the materials checklist down into like the safety equipment that you need, goggles, the gloves, the long sleeves, the vinegar, the actual ingredients for the process, which is the water, the oils, the lye, essential oils. And then the materials are at the bottom. And that is like the crock pot, the spatulas, the stick blender, the cups to measure things, the weight scale. All of those details are listed here. Oh, hey, yeah. So I realized, World of Aromas, that actually Instagram will cut off the live after an hour or an hour and 15. So I got kicked off, but I jumped back on, as I do. So I'm back. And I did see your message about coming up to Dallas to do some soap making. So we should get up in those DMs and figure out something, because that sounds like a lot of fun. And I got some friends up in Dallas, so hello. It would be good to see my girlfriends and also have another excuse to make soap, like I need one. But no, let's chat. Okay, so I'm gonna put this off to the side. Yep, like I said, I love me a good soap making system. All right, and so now I've got everything laid out. I think I'm ready to, oh yeah. So I turned my crock pot, let me actually move my camera. So I turned my crock pot on high, and so it's already getting nice and hot, and I'm gonna start measuring out my oils. And so for this part, you don't need to have your gloves on. You don't need to have your eyeglasses on for measuring out the oils. That's going to be absolutely imperative and important when we get to the sodium hydroxide. But when we're doing the oils, we can just measure them as such. And so I'm going to get my right here. So I'm going to pick this one out. We're going to do our measuring in here. This is, so I'll show you the bottom of it. It's a recyclable, little vessel here, but it's pretty hard plastic, and I like to use something that can just hold heat. And I'm going to have a second one out because I'm also going to measure the water in another one of these. So I'll just put this to the side. And you're going to see me as I go. I'm going to be like moving stuff around. So if you have questions or if you want to see something a little bit more up close, definitely. And World of Aromas, what is your first name? Unless your name is World of Aromas, which is awesome, but I like to, want to be able to say your name. All right, so I like to call people by their name. I'm going to turn on, I'm going to actually flip this. All right, so we're going to turn on this, and I'll just show you what you would do is you're going to hit this tare, just like we're in science class, just like we're in chem class at school. Hello, Numan. I want to say, did we meet at the Ultimate Women's Expo in Dallas? Maybe we did meet. Okay, because now your name is kind of familiar to me. All right, so I'm going to, I hit the tare button, and so now we are at 0. The action is beginning. I'm actually going to adjust the webcam for the YouTubers who will be watching. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to measure out our oils and our buzz. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do this and hold the camera, so I might just prop the camera up somewhere. But to recap, earlier in the last video, before I got cut off, we actually went through and I showed you exactly how I came up with this recipe, and it's based on the recommended percentages of using these different oils, and we use Brambleberry's lye calculator. And I talked about in another video, we can go super in depth on all the different fatty acids, but for now we're keeping it simple. And I am going to start with measuring out the mango butter, and we need 0.8 ounces of that. So I got my mango butter right here, lovely stuff. And I got this from Amazon, actually. So I'm gonna flip my camera around. Here we go. I'm gonna prop this up. Well, I guess you don't need to see me as much as you want to see the process. So I'm gonna slide this, perhaps, move this over here. Okay, that works. Nice. All right, so this is pretty hard. I'm gonna get a tool. I might even need a hard kind of a spoon to cut into it, or a knife. I might have something, the perfect tool. Oh yeah, these will work. This is a pretty hard spoon. So we're gonna turn this on. I'm gonna tare it again because I'm going so slow that it stopped. All right, and we are in ounces. And so I got this nice, really hard spoon, and we are going to measure out 0.8 of mango. I do like the scent of it. It's not mango-y. um, at all, but it does have a nice creaminess. Nice creaminess to it. I do like the texture of this. So I'm going to do zero point 0.8. And I did a YouTube video where I spent, it was like a long YouTube video like this one's going to be. And I was like measuring out all of the oils. And on that video, I had somebody say, "Thank you so much for showing all the itty bitty steps. I appreciate it." And then someone else was like, "This video is too long." Blah, blah, blah. Cut it down. So, different strokes, different folks. I personally like having all the little details. And so maybe I'll start this video. I'll have like the full length on there, and then I'll do one where I chop it up and make it like super short. All right, so I'm gonna check off the mango butter since we added that. We're gonna do 0.8 of neem oil. Wonderful, wonderful neem. So this is this organic neem oil. And so it has like this really strong smell. Like it is funky. It smells like peanutty. It's real funky. I like it. And you can actually use this on your plants outside. And because the smell is so strong, apparently it helps to repel some insects from certain plants. So this is a very versatile oil. And it's also one that I want to say it's like antibacterial. Is one of its like natural properties. And so it can only be a positive thing to, potentially rub onto your skin. All right, so there's 0.8 of neem oil. Then we're going to do 2.4 of our luscious avocado oil. So this is a new bottle. I wonder if I have an open bottle already. If not, I don't mind popping up with a new one, but let's see if this is open. Yep, I have an open bottle of it. So I'm going to save my closed bottle for when I need it. We're going to hit tear again, and I'm going to pour. This is 2.8 ounces of avocado oil. Oh man, it feels so good to be making soap again. It has been some time. Like I said, I had 2 very rough pregnancies where I had hyperemesis gravidarum. So I was vomiting the entire time. I know, so gross. That's how I felt for 9 months with each of my babes. Definitely worth it. The kids are great. Love them. But it was tough, and it was tough not being able to do what it is that I like to do, which is make soap. And I dreamed about making soap. And so here I am, 5 months postpartum, making soap, and this just feels right. Okay, so thank you for joining me on this momentous occasion. We're going to do 0.8 ounces of castor oil next. So this is castor oil, and I mentioned this is really good with adding bubbles to the bar. Too much will make a sticky bar though. And we're going to do 0.8 ounces. Again, it's 5% of our recipe. See how nice, thick, and luscious this beautiful stuff is. So 0.6, 0.7, all right, 0.8 ounces. Dope. All right, and now we're going to do 10% of our recipe is cocoa butter. So I have some organic cocoa butter here, and we actually need 1.6 ounces. So I'm going to open this package up. Now this smells like chocolate. Y'all, this smells so good. Ugh. And so my mom and my dad, they're both from Ghana in West Africa. And Ghana is famous for cocoa. Cocoa plants. My parents have experience in the agricultural aspects of cocoa. My dad always told me that he planted cocoa his whole life and he never had a chocolate bar until he came to like the UK or to the States. And I was just remembered thinking like, what? Like never? But such is the life. I mean, I think it's really interesting to think about just like the life of the raw materials in this world and how the people who grow and tend to materials are not always the people who enjoy the end products of it or even know what the end products are. It really makes you think. So 1.6. But my dad was not really a big sweets person to begin with. All right, so this is very hard. So I have like this knife here, and so I'm just like gonna cut into it. And like Brambleberry, for instance, they are a pretty, legit soap supplier. And they actually sell the cocoa butter in pastilles, as they call it, which are like little dots, like Dippin' Dots, if you are familiar with that ice cream brand of cocoa to help with the melting process because it is so hard. But it's not that difficult to do this, of breaking it up. I think I hear my little baby waking up from her nap, so her papa will be tending to her. And during the soap making process, so you see that's just 0.5. One of the challenges is, you really don't want to have kiddos around because, you've got hot oils, you've got water, you've got lye, you've got all kinds of things that can already go wrong. You don't want to add kiddos and pets in the mix. So I always tell people that when you're making soap, it's not a kid-friendly environment. Even in my in-person classes, I only allow ages 16 and up. Younger only if it's like a demo where it's not the hands-on experience. But for the hands-on soap making, it's so important that you have folks who can follow basic directions. And if anyone has ever been around a toddler or has toddlers, they don't respect the law. Okay, these toddlers are they're doing their own thing, and they are not gonna listen to any kind of information. They will ignore the safety video. So it is not for kids. It says, yes, there are many parts to this. Oh yeah, there are many parts to soap making. And that's why you want to take your time. I have my husband and he's, doing me a solid right now with keeping an eye on the kiddos and the dog and anybody who might want to come into this room. He's kind of running interference while I do this. So I'm still measuring out the cocoa butter. We're at 1 ounce. I've got about 0.8 ounces more, 0.6 actually, ounces more to kind of chisel out of here. And that's fine by me. This smells so good. That's like the number one thing that people talk about when they are in the in-person class. For those who have never made soap, they just are like, this room smells amazing. This is the best smelling class I've ever taken. So I'm just very therapeutic actually to come and just shave this cocoa butter. Let's actually do this. All right, nearly there. I'm not in any rush, though. I'm not in any rush. So 1.2, I'm going to shave about 0.4 next, and then we're going to move on to the rest of our butters. And the rest of our butters, this is actually the hardest butter that we're using in today's recipe. And this will contribute to the hardness of the bar. And one thing that I've learned is I'm using cocoa butter at 10%. And if you use too much cocoa butter, I hear that it'll make your bar of soap brittle. As long as I've been using cocoa butter, I haven't had that experience, but I thought I would share that in case you're curious about, upping the percentage. Oops. So we have about 0.4, 0.3 left to add. And then we're gonna move on to the next stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is so, like, I am so happy. Like, I could not be happier to be doing this. I feel like part of my soul is just like, finally! Like, I feel like I'm back to being the me. But yeah, being a mom is a beautiful thing. You know, motherhood is amazing, but it definitely like is just there's so much that I did not know. I didn't realize how much I was going to change as a person and as a woman um, in this journey towards motherhood. I didn't know, like, how could one possibly know all that happens when you enter into this new stage of your life? You know, you think about I won't be sleeping as much and this and that, but it's like, no, I'm fundamentally different than I was in the past, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing, but it's also like, you know, a matter of trying to figure out, you know, how exactly to, you know, still be the person you are and like expand that. Like, maybe what I'm trying to say is, as a mom, I feel like who I am in the world has expanded. And I'm still me, but me is different. All right. Lovely. All right, let's do a little, just gonna shape just a tiny bit more, and then we're good on the cocoa butter. And my hands are already just so soft. All right, good. Good stuff. All right, made a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. So, cocoa butter here. And then I'm gonna shave this, or check this off. All right, then we're gonna do 8 ounces of coconut oil. So here is the coconut oil. So just good old coconut oil from, most of these supplies you can get from the like cooking oil section of the grocery store. And or you can get some of these from a craft store too. Sometimes I'll see the craft store carry some of these products like Michael's or Joann's. All right, we're gonna do 8 ounces. So I'm just gonna plop this in. 3, 4, 5 ounces, 6 ounces, 7.6 ounces, 8 ounces. All right, good. All right, technically it's 8.1, but it's all right. Yeah, so the beautiful thing about making soap is, like, you definitely want to be as accurate as possible, but a little bit more oil, like, you know, half an ounce more oil, especially for a recipe that is, you know, like for your personal use, is not going to like impact the bar so much versus like if you were to measure the wrong amount of water or lye, you're going to have a big old problem on your hands. All right, so we have coconut oil checked off. Now we're going to do 1.6 ounces of our shea butter. Smells so good. So I'm going to wipe off my hard spoon. And yeah, so if you're gonna, you know, use a spoon or something like this when you're, you know, measuring out your stuff, just make sure that it's plastic or it's stainless steel. Never, ever in your entire life, ever, ever, ever use aluminum, because it will have a really bad reaction with sodium hydroxide. So you're just better off not having aluminum anywhere at all. All right, so I'm gonna do 1.6. This is of African shea butter. And shea butter is another butter that largely comes from Ghana. So that is pretty cool. All right, so we are good on that. And so I'm gonna close this up, and I'm gonna actually put some things away. because we don't need any of the oils anymore. We're good. So I'm going to put these in their proper location. I have a special cart that I use to keep all of my materials so that way they're out of the way and don't accidentally get into the wrong hands. All right, and now I'm going to move this over to the side. And so this is like my little slurry of all of the oils. So to recap, in here we have mango butter, neem oil, avocado oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, coconut oil, and shea butter. Woo, woo, woo. Yes. Yeah, so cocoa butter will make the bar harder. It's when it's like an excessive amount. That's when it'll make the bar brittle. Brittle like peanut brittle. It'll make the bar kind of, what am I trying to say? Like more crumblier. Yes. All right. So I just put all of this oil here in this crock pot. And so it's on hot. It's on high, actually. But the pot is hot. And I'm going to just grab my spatula so I can scrape out the last of it. Yum, yum. And right now, I'm telling you, it smells great. But that neem oil, even though we only use 5% of it, like for our recipe, that neem oil is strong. And this does smell really nutty. So here we go. I'm going to put this over here to the side. And let me just kind of show you what we got going on. So, yeah, so you can see Numan. I'm gonna actually, so you can see that it's a mix of hard and soft oils, and it's, right here on high. So it's gonna melt down, and I'm going to flip the screen back. So while we're going to let our oils and butters do their melting, I'm going to get ready to measure out the water and then the lye. So I usually tend to measure the lye out last because that's when I put on the goggles and the gloves and go outside. So yeah, we're going to put this down here. And just so you can see. Ooh, lovely stuff. So we got just like that, the chunks of shea butter. They're pretty soft, so they should melt in due time. All right, nice. All right, so I'm gonna put this up here, let it do its thing. And I'm going to continue to tidy up a little bit. And yeah, it's just, it's good practice to get things out of the way that you're not actively using. And let me actually so I'm going to measure out some fragrance, and I'm going to measure out some bentonite clay. All right, so we're going to measure out the water. I'm going to actually wipe down my surface because I've got some cocoa butter on here. Oh, hey, baby. Yeah, baby is outside, so she might be mad. She might be mad that she can't come in here, but it's for her own good. And when she's old enough, I will teach her all of my soap making knowledge so she can inherit this amazing, amazing craft. Like I said, I am all about sharing knowledge, and I think it's so important to keep this craft going. Yeah. All right, so we are going to check off shea butter. And so now, where are we at in our process? We've done all the oils and fats. Now we're going to measure out on this top part the sodium hydroxide and the liquid. And so for the liquid, we need 5.2 ounces of distilled water. So I'm going to turn this on and put in a fresh, clean one of these containers, tear it out, and then we're going to pour in 5.2 ounces. And it says liquid because it really doesn't need to only be distilled water. This could be beer, it could be wine, it could be goat's milk, it could be cow's milk, it could be breast milk, it could be almond milk, it could be juice, aloe. All other kinds of liquids are totally acceptable to use. Okay, I'm actually gonna do 5.1 ounces instead of 5.2 because I actually want, no, okay. I have this really awesome liquid silk. You have not added any scent, correct? No, I'm not gonna add the scent yet. So I have my scents here and we're gonna add those toward the end of the process. But good question, not yet. And I'm gonna add the scents toward the end. It's not required. So if I was doing cold process soap, I could totally add my scents in, but I recommend doing it after you add the sodium hydroxide in water solution because this can alter the property of the scents. It's going to raise the temperature of the entire material as well. And so it's safer to keep the scents stable by adding them a little bit later. What about juice has sugar in it? Will it still work? Yes, juice will work. The sugar, when you add sugar to a soap recipe, it increases the bubbles that are in it. So juice will work and you'll have the added effect of bubbles, of larger, more lathering, is that the right term? It'll increase the lather of your bar of soap by adding in sugar. So you can add straight sugar to your soap, or you can do it through juice. You can also put salt in soap and make a lovely salt bar. All right, so this is 5.2 ounces of water. So we're good here. I'm gonna put this to the side. And now I'm going to use this little cup here, and I am gonna go ahead and just measure my fragrances. And so I'm going to show you how to use the fragrance calculator from Brambleberry too, because why not? I think that'll be. So I'm going to really quickly show you my screen again like I had it in the beginning. So we did the lye calculator earlier. I'm going to show you the fragrance calculator. And let's do lavender. And we're going to do lavender 4042. Submit. And also, before I forget, I'm going to also share what I'm doing on YouTube. So, in the future, I'm going to have an assistant help me with this aspect of things. But for now, I'm just getting back into the flow. And I'm going to do it like this. So I'm going to hit share. I'm going to add. I'm going to remove. Okay, so now we're on YouTube, so YouTube can see me. And this is Lavender 4042 Essential Oil on the Brambleberry Fragrance Calculator. And so we're going to go into what kind of product are we making? And we're going to go to cold process soap. Even though we're making hot process soap, it's the same concept. How much are you making in ounces or grams? So if you remember from our recipe earlier, we are making 23.53 ounces, so about 24 ounces of soap. And so I am going to put 23.53, and I'm going to do ounces. And then we're going to submit. Actually, I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it for pounds of oils, actually. So we're just going to run through this again. I'm going to type in 16 ounces of oils, because something like in my memory, like I kind of remember that we usually will add fragrance per pound of oils. That tends to be like the, what you call it, like the rule of thumb is to go with pounds of oils rather than full pounds of the finished product. So we did 16 ounces of oils. And so this tells us if we want a light scent, a medium scent, or a strong scent. It's about an ounce of fragrances that we are going to add. Oh, hey, Nisha, what's up? Oh, okay, so World of Aromas. When I am in Dallas, I'll be your assistant. Oh, that would be nice. I would love a soap assistant. Let's see. So, oh wow. So sugar will add lather. Yes, sugar will add lather. That is correct, Newman. All right. So hello, Newman. Hello, Nisha. Hello, Juliana. Hello, everybody who's checking me out here. And so we're going to add about an ounce of fragrances. And so I mentioned that I'm not doing 100% essential oil because I'm going to use this really delicious smelling black currant absinthe luxury kind of scent. And then I'm also going to do lavender essential oil. So I'm going to like kind of play around, and I'm going to make it heavy on black currant absinthe and light on the lavender. Okay, let me flip this camera around. I'm going to measure this out. Man, I am having a good time. And let me tell you. So yeah, it's real. It's like, it's important as a mom too, to also like to continue having my hobbies, continue having my passion. All right, so I did 0.8 ounces of this black currant and absinthe, and I'll do about 0.2 absinthe, 0.2 ounces of the lavender, because I do want a relatively strong scent. All right, we're good. Oh my god, that smells amazing. Oh, I wish you could smell what I smell. Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna put these. I'm gonna put the scents away. Wow. Oh my god. Okay, that smells really good. And just so you can see what's going on here, so all of the oils and butters have melted. All right, so I'm gonna flip this camera. We're gonna add B back and remove that. Yep. So YouTube as well, you can see inside of our pot, all of the oils have melted. So we're ready to keep on going. I am going to next start measuring out the sodium hydroxide. And before I even open this, I'm going to get out my separate container that I use to measure lye. So I always measure lye in its own container that is only ever used to measure lye, because I don't want to cross-contaminate. So you can see I have it labeled lye. I have a little skull and crossbones on the backside, just so if anyone sees it, they know don't touch it. I'm a little dramatic sometimes. But, it's important. Be safe. So this is only for lye. I'm going to hit the tare button. All right. And in this recipe, we need 2.33 ounces of lye. And so I mentioned that, maybe you might be a little heavy-handed and do, 8.1 ounces of coconut oil. You're going to be fine. But if you measure too much lye, you're going to really throw off your recipe, and you're not going to have the same amount of superfat. So remember, we're superfatting at 7%, which means that we're adding 7% additional oils and butters to the recipe over this minimum requirement that's needed to turn oil into soap. So we're going to be fine, but I just want to, kind of put a little exclamation point on that you certainly want to be accurate in your lye, because it can change and throw off your recipe. All right, so we're gonna put this over here, and cool. All right, so I have this going, and I'm going to put on my goggles. Yes, and I'm gonna put on my gloves. All right, and now we have sodium hydroxide. So I'm going to turn this back on and make sure that it's all tared out. And we're going to measure 2.33 ounces. So I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to measure out the exact amount that we need. And you can see that the lye, it's in little balls. So we got 0.4, more, 0.8. So let me get this in. And this is, so the company that makes this one is called Bell Chemical. You can get this from Amazon. You can get this from a soap supplier like Brambleberry. They carry this. And you can also get it, like, let's say you are a teacher. If you have a store where you get science materials, like science supplies, lab equipment, then you'll also be able to find sodium hydroxide. You can also find sodium hydroxide in the plumbing aisle at a hardware store, which is pretty dope. Because this is also used to clean drains. Why? Because this will turn the grease that's stuck in your pipes into soap, and then it'll wash out. This will, so I'll talk about this a little bit more, but this is sodium hydroxide. We measured out 2.3 ounces. I'm going to put this away and get this out of the way. So yeah, we are constantly keeping our area clean and just keeping exactly what we need here. And so 2.3 ounces of lye, and then we have our 5.2 ounces of water. And so now this is the part where I normally go outside, but I think I'm just going to crack the window open for this part. And I'm going to mix the two together. And so the reason why you would want to go outside is because this will actually release fumes, and it's going to get really hot as well. So I'm moving more stuff out of the way today because I'm not going to play. Open the window. All right, window is open. This is going to produce fumes, and so you definitely want to keep the window open for that. And I'm going to grab another spatula that I haven't used. So I'm going to get a fresh spatula so that way I can mix this. And so this part, when we add the lye to the water, I want you to keep it in your head. You're always going to add lye into the water. You will never, ever pour water into lye. If you do that, you really can start a fire. It's absolutely possible because this is going to heat up so quickly, it's going to spark. But the other way around is the only safe way to do it. So, in fact, I'm just going to turn the camera a little bit more toward the window so you can kind of see a little bit better as I do this. And so I'm going to put my water right on the windowsill, fresh open air, and I'm going to slowly add the lye to it. When I do this in person at my workshop, I take students right outside. I take you outside. Now I'm going to mix this very gently and very slowly. And I mentioned, like, this is the most dangerous part of soap making. And if you are not careful, and if you're not a person who will follow directions, you will burn your skin. Yeah, this is funky. I'm gonna put the rest of it in there. And so you can see it's, well, you probably can't see. I'll bring it closer to you. But I can smell it. It's quite funky. Even if you're outside in the open air, it still smells. The smell will dissipate. Yeah, it smells, it irritates your airway. I mean, you could even wear a mask when you did this part if you wanted to as well. So I'm gonna keep on mixing it because, woohoo, it's funky. So you don't want to do this in a closed environment. You need to have access to the outdoors, have a nice big window that you can open up to do this kind of mixing. Or some people will do this under a vent hood, like, a cooking vent. But I just say go outside. The first lady who taught me how to do this, we were at her homestead. She had like a chicken coop in one area, and we just went outside, and she had a bucket and, mix it for us. And even we were like a group of maybe like 20 people standing around her watching her make soap. And even though we were all pretty far back, we could still smell the smell of this reaction. So not pleasant at all. So I'm just gonna like show this a little closer to the camera. So this starts out super cloudy, and then as you continue to mix it, the smell dissipates, and then it does turn clear. So when it's completely clear and there's no more little bitty granules of lye left, then you know it's ready. Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff. All right. So mix, mix, mix. I'm mixing. And this is hot. So this is already like over 220 degrees, if not more. Like, this is very, very hot in my hands. And it's an exothermic reaction. When you mix lye, you put lye into water, it does give off an insane amount of heat. So sometimes, depending on the type of soap you're making, you might even use distilled water ice cubes. Or if you're using juice, you might use, ice cubes to help kind of cool down the mixture. Depending on the kind of soap that you're making, or the style or the swirls you want to make, you'll want to pay attention to that in particular. All right, so to the side, I have liquid silk. I mentioned this is going to be a luxury bar, not a vegan bar, unfortunately or fortunately. I'm going to put this, I'm going to actually just keep this on the windowsill for now, kind of get it out of my way, but it's ready to go. And I'm going to do like half. Sometimes they'll say like a tablespoon or a teaspoon per pound of butter for like luxury items. I'm going to do, because I've used liquid silk before and I love how it feels. It just makes the bar so, silky, like, as, obvious as it sounds. I'm going to do 0.2 ounces of liquid silk, and I'm going to add that toward the end when I add in the fragrance. And liquid silk, it does smell a little bit like soy sauce, but I think it's going to be a nice, addition to like that amber kind of scent that I have going on. Okay, so let me move these to the side, and now I'm done with the scale. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this away. All right, and we are back to basics here. So we got our melted oils, we've got our lye and water, This smells strong. It's that neem oil. I mean, I tell you, like it smells strong, but it's so good for skin that I don't care. All right, I'm gonna put this together. Cool. And we're gonna need our stick blender pretty soon. So just gonna get that ready. Okay. So this is the cool part. Thank you for sticking with me this whole time. Thank you for sticking with me. We're at the money shot where I'm going to do the blending. And so this actually fell out. Let me put that back in there. All right, so I'm going to take this lye and water and we're going to pour it into our oils. So you're going to see some beautiful stuff happen. There we go. Ooh. Ha-ha, baby. All right. So I'm going to put this back on the windowsill. We are done with that. And I'm going to pick up my phone. And then, so that way Instagram can see a little bit better. So I'm mixing it just by hand. And so it's still completely separated. Like I'm mixing it and these are like two different things. This is oil on the bottom and then lye and water. These are not friends yet. Now, as I mix, you see the color starts to lighten up as they begin to mingle and they're like, okay, what's going on here? These are mixing together and they're slowly transforming into something new. So we can't call this soap yet. This is just it's a solution. It's a mixture at this point. They haven't completely commingled. They need some help. So if I were in a place like when I made soap in Ghana, sometimes the folks there don't always have a stick blender. And so if you're doing this by hand, you might be mixing it like this for 2 to 4 hours before it'll actually all come together. But because we have access to a stick blender, we can zoom for a couple of minutes, and then not even a couple of minutes really, and then we're going to be good to go and kind of done with that mixing process. But my dream is to travel to every country in the world and make soap. And I want to make soap the local way and know how people make it in different cities, villages, tribes, what have you. Like I want to know all the ways of making soap. I love traveling. I studied anthropology in college, so I'm always looking for just ways to have a better cross-cultural connection with folks. I love culture. All right, so I'm going to turn on the stick blender and we're going to do this. And I'm going to put this in here and then we're going to so now it's mingling. This is like the best part. All right, so what we are doing is we're trying to get to a certain texture called trace. And so we've achieved it. It's where you kind of pick up your material and you can drop it on and kind of see the indentations of it. Let me hold this better. So we have a really good texture. I'm going to go ahead and blend it some more. Cool. Nice. All right. Let's start with Dallas. What's up? All right, but we gonna make this happen. All right, FYI, it looks like Instagram is gonna kick me off in about 20 seconds. So I'll go back live again. So you're gonna have to find me again. But I'm still going. So yeah, I've got about 10 seconds left on Instagram. I'll see you. You're gonna have to click that live button again. But I do appreciate you hanging with me. And if you don't want to get kicked off, you can always join me on YouTube. All right. Yay, yay. Okay, so we are back. And yeah, I am scraping down my stick blender. And I'm still keeping my gloves on. So welcome back. Welcome, welcome. I'm scraping down the stick blender. I'm getting all of my soap batter off of it. Well, as much as I can. It won't be all of it. And then because this is lye heavy, you don't want to touch this right now. I'm going to put this into the same container that I had my lye and water solution in. So this is like caustic stuff, handle with care, wash with care. I'm going to mix this around some more, just with my straight spatula. And so if I were making cold process soap, I would actually be pretty close to done. If I were doing cold process at this point, I would have gone ahead and added in my essential oils and my fragrances and the bentonite clay and all of that. And then I would put it into a mold. But I'm doing hot process today. So I'm going to take my top, my lid, and I'm going to cover it. And we're going to just let this cook. And so because we're doing a relatively small batch, this is going to take about like 30 to 45 minutes to completely cook. And so you're going to get a chance to see the stages of soap making. So it's going to be pretty nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like get some of the steam off of the top so you can see on the inside. And I'm going to be cleaning up a little bit while this is cooking. So I'm going to try to keep the camera on here so you can see some of those stages as they take place. All right, clean up, clean up. So I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to need my bentonite clay. And so I'm done with my stick blender at this point, so I'm going to just put this away. Yeah, so this is like the cool part of the class. Like usually when I'm teaching this live, this is like the Q&A section, like, you know, what questions do you have? And it's a big opportunity to, like share either the problems you've had making soap. So I've had people tell me, oh, I make melt and pour soap, and I added in, milk, and I added in lavender, and all of this, and it was beautiful. And then I used it in the shower, and then for some reason, that melt and pour bar got real moldy. It got real gross up in the shower. What happened? And so I mentioned at the very beginning, I'm going to add some forget-me-nots to the top of the soap. The reason why things get moldy in melt and pour is because of the pH. And so what that means is like the percent of hydrogen is pH. When you're making melt and pour soap, the pH of it is low enough that bacteria can thrive. Meanwhile, when you're making soap the natural way, because we use sodium hydroxide, the pH is so high that bacteria is not a hospitable environment for that bacteria to live in. And so that is really the main reason why adding in lavender, adding in all this stuff to melt and pour just doesn't turn out the way that you expect versus doing it the old-fashioned way. So I'm going to keep these to the side and continue cleaning up. So that is a common question that I get on the melt and pour side of things. And I do teach a melt and pour group class. And so this is more of like a team building kind of experience. And the good thing about it is it's an opportunity for people who have like never experienced anything related to soap making to come together and do like the really fun, relatively simple and easy version of it, but still like get that opportunity to experience what it's like to make soap without going through all of these steps. So totally different environment, a different format. And I'm going to close our window. Hello, butterfly. Hey, butterfly. All right. And so I'm going to get in here so we can peek in and kind of see that our soap is bubbling and doing its thing. So I'm going to keep it closed. It's a very thick, luxurious mixture. And so, just to kind of recap on what we've done so far is I took you through the process of, what it means to go into like one of these classic soap making books and, how to look up different oils, what the saponification value means, kind of seeing properties of oil. So for example, we use neem oil. And so neem oil, this book makes the claim that the oil has antiseptic properties and can be used to treat dandruff, oily skin, and skin diseases, and is also used as a mosquito repellent. And, it talks about like the hardness and conditioning properties. You can use it anywhere between, 10 and 40% of total oil. So this is just an example of what you would want to look at if you're just completely new to formulating, to kind of look at the wonderful hard work of other soap makers that have organized this information in a really easy to, consume way. I think you might definitely hear babies screaming in the background. Papa is doing me a solid right now and giving me some time and space to make soap. So thanks, Papa. All right, so I'm going to check off the lye because we did add that, and I'm going to check off the liquid. And so now, we have included our mango butter, our neem oil, our avocado oil, our castor oil, cocoa butter, coconut, and shea. We're going to just take a look, and it's still doing its thing, I'm going to give it a stir. I'm going to give this a stir. Look at this beautiful, beautiful. And let me tell you that this smells really good at this point. That fresh soap smell, there's just nothing like it. Yeah, some people get a whisk out and they whisk it, and I am doing it with my trusty spatulas. I'm gonna close that, let it do its thing. Beautiful, beautiful. And once again, I'm Priscilla with Superpower Soap. And I want you to embrace the superpower you. All right. While this continues to cook, I'm gonna grab the mold that I want to use. And it is up in the corner. So I'm gonna move these things slightly over to the side so I can reach it no problem. There we go. So we're gonna use this mold. Whoa, okay, this is cool. So this has already started. You can't leave hot process soap alone because, as you can see, it has already bubbled up to the top. So I'm going to open it up and I'm going to mix this up. This is so fun, y'all. Oh my god. This is like the best. All right, so gotta keep an eye on hot process. You don't make this and walk away. Even with cold process, you don't just you don't walk away from what it is that you're doing as a cold process maker either, because the temperatures can suddenly rise unexpectedly and you might have a volcano on your hands. So stay in the room. Keep a vigilant eye. All right, mixing, mixing, mixing. Woo! All right. I am so in my element. I am so thankful for the day. All right, so cooking. Whoop, whoop, whoop. What we're gonna do is we're gonna let this cook and cook and cook. And then I have this here. I call it pH solution. That's how I labeled the bottle. But it's actually called phenolphthalein. And so phenolphthalein, hello, Toya. And so phenolphthalein is a really important material. It doesn't go into the soap, but I actually will take a sample of the soap out a little bit later, and then I'll test it. And that'll tell me if the pH of the soap is at a 10 or below, and if it is done. All right, so now I'm gonna hit stop sharing, and I'm gonna go and I'm just having a really good time. And Superpower Soap. Superpower Soap. Yeah, I came up with Superpower Soap back in 2014. And one thing I can say is the first time I made soap, I really did feel like I had a superpower. It was such, I didn't so imagine me in 2014. I had no idea what any of the ingredients in soap were. I had no idea, when I saw oil was in soap, I was like, seriously? There's oil? Huh? It just didn't make sense to my brain. And so I ended up taking a class with a local maker, and let me tell you, that, it just blew my mind. And I thought, okay, so just these regular, schmegular ingredients put together makes. And so that, it just blew my mind, and I just felt power. And so that is a little bit about how I came up with the name Superpower Soap. All right, so you experienced the first volcano. And then something, so if you take my one-on-one class, I'm going to give you this really awesome ebook, Introduction to Soap Making, that I wrote. Yes, I wrote this book. And I use it every time I make soap because it's just so step by step. And I'm the kind of person, like, I need a system to follow. I need directions. I need it to be really easy for me to just like jump in and go. And so I use this all the time. And we're at the part of where we're going through all of the stages of saponification. And so I basically have that all laid out here in my ebook. And so we did that first part where things were already separated, things were just incorporated. We had the light trace, we got to a pudding phase, and now we're cooking. And we hit our volcano phase. So even that volcano you saw, I have it like listed right here, that you're in the volcano phase where the soap is bubbling and rising to the top of the pot. It could get real messy, y'all. And we're basically waiting for it to move to gel phase. And so that's where we're at. So I'm going to keep on keeping an eye on our pot so it doesn't bubble over again, and also continue to clean up, tidy up, all of that. Keep things nice and organized. And it's also, good manufacturing practices to keep things nice and organized and clean, especially, for those of you who have dreams of starting your own soap making business, launching a soap brand and making soap that is, for the people. You do want to have a system in place so you can keep track of all of your materials and your ingredients, what you're using, what you're not using. It's good for business, and it's also going to keep you very sane because you know exactly what you're doing and where you're at with things. All right, so I can tell by the smell that we're not there yet. I can just tell by smelling the soap that we're not there. I honestly don't think this is going to be large enough of a mold for 24 ounces of soap. So I'm going to get my mold that is twice this size. And this is like a really, common soap mold. Crafter's Choice 1501. So we're going to use this size today. Did I mention how happy I am to be making soap? Because I am so happy. Like, I really dreamed about this. It's like, it takes a lot to coordinate having kiddos. You gotta make sure that, they're good, they're not freaking out, upset, all of that. And having a toddler and a baby, it's real. But it's also very beautiful, and I'm very in love with my life. But I also want to be honest and share that as much as I love it, it is also tough to prioritize things like this. Thankfully, today is not one of those days. Today is a day where it's prioritized. Hello, Plantlet. Thanks for joining me. I am making soap live. So I am making hot process soap. And if you catch some of the other videos from earlier today, you'll see that we went through and created a whole recipe, and we put it all together here. So you can also catch this. I'll edit the video, make it really nice on YouTube so you can see it too. All right, so I'm gonna add in my bentonite clay. I'm gonna sprinkle this, and this is just gonna add to making this a really nice and silky bar. And I did about a teaspoon of bentonite clay. So I'm gonna put this to the side, and I'm going to mix it in. I'm mixing it in just straight, but you can certainly mix this into oils or into your water and mix that around. But I know how this will behave at this stage of hot process. So I feel very comfortable just adding this in straight. It's going to add a nice silkiness. And bentonite clay, you know, if you ever use like Neutrogena growing up, like their clay masks, I want to say that one of the main ingredients is bentonite clay. So it's certainly used in other skincare products. I'm also going to go ahead and I'm going to add my silk in here. All right, so I added the silk. This, it kind of has like a salty, soy saucy kind of thing going for it. So this is silk. And then I'm going to cover it up, let it continue going, and I'll put these items away. And then the last thing that I'm going to add is the fragrance oil, but I'm not going to add it just yet. I'm going to do a test. So I think I'll just do it on this little paper towel. I'm going to take a little bit. I'll put this a little closer. Yeah. Okay, cool. You can see that. So I'm going to put a little bit of this mixture onto the paper towel, and then I'm going to drop some phenolphthalein on there, and then we'll see if it's ready. So from my estimation, we're still, you know, in that lie heavy phase, but this is so much fun. And that's why, like, I even want to be, you know, teaching soap making classes, is because I truly love doing this. And so also, like, if you have a business or a school and you are interested in having me, soap maker, come by and teach the entire process front to back, definitely hit me up, y'all. All right, it's time to teach our young people. All right, so I'm gonna drop this and see. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so we are actually done. So if this turned bright pink, that would have indicated that we are still lye heavy. But thankfully, I just tested our soap and it's actually completely done. So nice. I'm going to go ahead and I turned the crock pot off. And now I'm finally going to add our scent. So I'm going to pour in this black currant absinthe mixed in with lavender essential oil. And I'm going to mix this around here at the very end of our process. And I'm going to, you know, give it a good mix, gentle. I don't want to add too many, you know, air bubbles into this. But once again, it just smells awesome. So Instagram, you can see this. If you want to get, you know, better views, I would say look at the YouTube video, because I'm able to position my webcam just a little better than I can my cell phone. But I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm going to do more of these lives. This is my first live of the year. I'm a little rusty. Rusty, never crusty. Yeah, and thank you for hanging out with me the last couple of hours. We are done. Yeah, I'm just gonna test it one more time because I'm actually shocked at like how fast this cooks. So I'm gonna do just another little piece of soap down here, and I'm gonna just apply some more phenolphthalein to it. And we are running clear. Okay. There's just like a little hint of pink, but actually no. That's just the paper towel itself. Yeah, all right, so we're good. I'm gonna put this off to the side as well. And so now we're at the fun part where I'm going to, I guess I kind of would like some kind of color situation going. All right, you're gonna see me freestyle this. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I have lab colors. So I'm gonna actually open up my little kit here. And I mean, I did say St. Florian. So we're gonna make this blue. We're not gonna do, maybe we do red, maybe we do blue. So I'm gonna just go for the blue on that side. And I'm really freestyling. And I'm gonna go for red on this side. And I'm gonna see what happens. And this is like the fun part of soap, is there is no one right or wrong way to make your creativity flow. That's also why I like teaching the classes, is because you allow people the opportunity to be creative. I mean, some people will say, like, I don't have a creative bone in my body. And then you know, offer them colors and fragrances and ingredients. And then suddenly they like forget all of that self-deprecating, you know, this and that with their soap making. And it's like, oh, hey, guess what? I am a little creative. Hey, I do, you know, have some ability to, like, make beautiful things. And it's like, duh. But also, sometimes, like, I think some people need permission to be creative. And that's fine. All right, so we have like red on one side, we have blue on another, and you know, like I'm gonna swirl it. And this is in, you know, like a way to give some homage to St. Florian, who is most famous for the legend where he was able to save an entire town from burning with a single bucket of water. So I'm going for red and blue to kind of show that fire and ice. And I am like piling my soap. So I was gonna do the bigger container, and then I thought, you know what? I think it actually will be fine in here. So we got some parts of it are blue, other parts are red. In honor of our patron saint, we made this very beautiful, luxurious bar soap. I'm just gonna yeah, I've been wanting to do this all year. The whole time I was sick, I absolutely wanted to be here making soap with y'all and with my fam. And now here I am. So, you know, what happens to a dream deferred? You know, sometimes things don't work out the way that we want them to. Want to make God laugh, make a plan. And, you know, God is here to help us see differently, you know. I always like that idea that a miracle is a change in perspective. And I have had nothing short of miracles happen in my life over the last few years, especially. Yay! Look at our jiggly soap. And yeah, and I'm gonna put some forget-me-nots on top. I mentioned that because these are, we're doing this on fresh handmade soap. These will actually not get moldy and they won't have any problems because the pH of the soap is so high that the flowers are not going to breed bacteria. And so if this were melt and pour, then it would look really pretty, and once it got wet and hung out in a shower, it would get real funky. So I'm going to do forget-me-nots because, hey, St. Florian, we're not going to forget him. We're going to thank him, and we're going to praise him. And it's nice being Catholic. And being able to honor our patron saint in this way. And this is my first time making soap like in honor of one of our Catholic saints, and I hope to do this again and again. So, hey, forget me not. We will not forget your wonderful martyrdom, St. Florian. Thank you. And I cannot wait to use this soap, y'all. This is gonna be good. Yeah. All right, so there you have it. This is, let me show everybody, this is 24 ounces of soap. This is hot process soap making, and thank you for joining me. So now what's next? Well, I'm going to continue cleaning up, I'm going to continue tidying up, and then from there, I'm going to let this soap hang out and cool down. And then on my next live, I'll show you me unmolding it and cutting it into bars. So I can't wait to see you for that. Thank you. Love you. Bye. Cool. And YouTube fam, thank you so much. Whoa, I'm a little sweaty here. But thank you so much for following along with my soap making adventure. And as you can see, we have our finished soap. And oh, hey, cutie. All right, and hey, so just to wrap things up, wanted to show off the final soap that I ended up making today. So this is a very, very luxurious bar of soap. And this bar of soap I made with mango butter. Well, we made because you guys were live with me the whole time. And so just to kind of recap, what did we do? We put together a recipe and we made soap from scratch. Woohoo! So thank you for joining me for the first soap making that I've done all year since having baby number 2. I'm so happy. I feel like I'm back in my element again. Hello, Bangkok Soap Opera. Thank you for joining. Thanks for stopping by. So this soap here I made with mango butter, neem oil, avocado oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, coconut oil, and shea butter for a very luxurious bar. And we also added in silk to this bar. So this is not vegan soap because we did add silk to it. And silk does come from silkworms. We also used fragrance oil. We used lavender fragrance oil and a very delicious black currant and absinthe scent, as well as lye and water. So all of that came together. You got a chance to see me add all of this to our crock pot. You got to see it all bubble up and boil. You got to watch me mix the lye and the water solution in the outdoors. And now here is our final bar of soap, and it is in honor of St. Florian, whose Catholic feast day was yesterday on May 4th. And I topped it with some forget-me-nots. So in my next live, hopefully tomorrow, you'll get to see me take this out of the mold. It's still real jiggly. Look at that jiggle. So I'll take it out of this mold, and then I will cut this up. And yeah, and to recap, I chose to do a small batch because I've never made this recipe before. You know, we put it together live. And so, you know, it's always good to do a test batch and see how the bar of soap performs. And then we can always scale this up if we love it. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. And yeah, you can expect me to I'm not going to give myself a timeline, but hopefully at some point in the next week or so, I will edit the video so that you can kind of see this all in the different sections and milestones in the process. But for now, enjoy the long, unedited video. And yes, thank you again for joining me. And if you'd like me to make soap again live on YouTube and Instagram, definitely leave some comments and let me know what you want to see. I'm in love with soap making, and I'm in love with this whole process of being able to just like share this knowledge so that future generations know where those materials that we need day to day, like soap, actually come from and how to make it on your own. So I love you guys, and thanks again for tuning in. Bye. Okay, I keep forgetting I'm on YouTube. Like, not forgetting, but it's just like I got this going, I got that going, and it's all good. Thank you for joining me. This was such a good, fun time. And join me tomorrow when I cut this baby up.